everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Self-Published Success, a show that highlights forward-thinking authors who chose self-publishing over traditional and found success in doing so. My name is John Feldman, founder of Visionary Literary and your host for today's show. Our guest today is Isabella Bedoya. She is the founder of Fame Hackers, which is an AI-powered marketing consulting agency. She's a ChatGPT advocate who is here to talk more about the best ways in which you, the author, can maximize efficiency in your writing process. Isabella, welcome to the show.
John, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for being here. So anyone listening already knows, if you've listened to other episodes, especially recently, that I am all for the AI innovation. So the tools, the tricks, everything that you are going to bring to this show is going to be so valuable. So I'm going to sit back probably with my eyes open in awe, listening to everything that you have learned and what you shared. So a little background story for the listeners. Isabella and I are connected on LinkedIn. I started following her on LinkedIn a few weeks ago or maybe months ago, and it has been enlightening to say the least. So we've been connected, and the things that she shares on her LinkedIn channel about ChatGPT is absolutely incredible. So I asked her to come on the show. She said yes. I was very, very excited, and here we are. So Isabella, before we get into all the cool stuff, tell us a little bit more about you, about Fame Hackers, and then how you became so interested in ChatGPT.
Absolutely. So I have a marketing agency, and what we do is we help a lot of our clients with like their LinkedIn, their YouTube, their TikToks, stuff like that. And it wasn't until like earlier this year that I've been using like AI probably for a few years in the sense of like Jasper and all these other like writing tools. But earlier this year, I said, let me actually try doing a marketing campaign on a strategy for a client on ChatGPT. And, something that normally would have taken me like at least a week to do between the target audience research, the, like the creators examples, influencer examples, how to actually launch the whole marketing strategy and stuff like that. I was able to do this, including like email copies, affiliate terms and conditions, all of those things in like 2 or 3 hours worth of work. And my mind was just blown because I was just like, this would have at least taken me a whole week, and I would have probably had to bring in a couple of people from the team to help me, with all the pieces. So ever since then, I've just been like going full force in ChatGPT every time I have a question that I would normally ask myself or Google or a coworker or something. I literally always go straight to ChatGPT and see what I can come up with. But that was kind of like my aha moment. And I think everyone that uses AI, they don't understand the power of it till they go through that aha moment themselves.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very good point. So I feel like too, I thought I had an aha moment when I first started using it, and then, like I said, you've been sharing so much on LinkedIn lately. So I have aha moments every time I see your posts. Your carousel posts are incredible, and they
Thank
share
you.
so much. So the exactly what you said. What would take a week, and some people on your team took you by yourself about 2 hours. That's the main message I continue to share when it comes to writing is the first draft process is the most belaboring process for writing. Getting 40 to 80 to 100,000 words, depending on what you're writing down, onto the page is difficult for most people to do. And it can take months or years. With AI and ChatGPT, it can take hours.
Yeah.
So, but it's very, very polarizing. So I'm sure in marketing you see it too, but in writing, when it comes to fiction writers or ghost writers, people who make money through writing, it's very polarizing.
Oh
People
yeah.
either love it, like I do, or they absolutely hate it and they despise it and they think it's going to go away, or they'll do anything in their power to make it go away. So what do you say? Obviously, you're on the same spectrum as me, right? We're both here or we love it. What do you say to the people who are against it?
This is a really good topic. I think it's more of like a switch in perspective.
Yeah.
I kind of view it as using technology to make our lives easier.
Yes.
So when we think about, like back in the early 2000s, everybody had to learn how to send emails, or probably even before the early 2000s, but everybody had to learn how to send emails, transition from fax to email. And some people, like banks, they still don't do emails, right? So it's one of those things, like either you adapt and transform and know that you're not necessarily going to be replaced by AI, but you're going to be replaced by people that are using AI. And they're still going to be, it's just going to be a matter of positioning yourself, because it's like with everything else that we do in the world, you'll have, some publishing houses who are super, super, um, how can I say this? Like kind of like operating more in like the old school model,
Yep.
but they're still around. They're still getting sales. They're still publishing books and stuff like that. And then you have like the new model, which is like the Amazon bestsellers, self-publishing, and it's like there's still space for everyone to win. It's just going to be who wants to win faster and who wants to go further. So if you're looking at how like AI is this like evil thing, it's more of a how can you integrate it into your life to make you even better and more valuable so that you can also earn more money as well.
That is a really, really good take on that, because many conversations that I've had, it's basically like the way I say it is jump on board now or you're going to fall behind.
Exactly.
But the fact that you're saying it's okay, like we don't, I guess in the world that we're in now, everything's just so fast paced and everyone feels like they're going to be left behind. So if you're on that side where it's, I don't necessarily like AI, like what you were saying is that you don't, it doesn't have to be scary. Like you continue to do your thing. There are still people who want to work with you, who want to have that kind of, working relationship where it's human to human and leave AI out of it. But on the other hand, like this is here and it's not going anywhere. So it really depends on what you want. So that is a very good perspective, because again, this is very polarizing. I've been in like literal like arguments on social media about this with other writers, and it just it blows my mind how we're both so hard-headed and we just bump into each other. But very interesting take. So I appreciate that. So now I want to talk about best uses, best practices. So I try to share this advice with people, like how to use ChatGPT to outline, how to use different AI tools like Hemingway Editor for the editing, and then Grammarly for the copy edit. But when it comes to ChatGPT specifically, what are some ways authors can benefit from this tool to first just to outline the book?
Sure. Yes. When it comes to before we dive in actually really quick into like the actual contents of it, I just wanted to put like a little disclaimer, because I think also this is like the one thing that people are going to react to the most,
Yeah.
is when you're using this for like content creation, writing and stuff like this, remember that it's still a robot, right? So it will do 80% of the work, 90% of the work for you, but it's your responsibility to still go in and edit it, make it sound like you. Like I usually just say like humanize it, right? Like
Yeah.
you can give it more depth and emotion than any other AI generated piece of content ever will. So that's what will set you apart. Now, in terms of like how to actually write the outline, it's all about prompts. The prompt is like what you put into it. There's a saying that people say, it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? Like if your prompt is not good enough, you're gonna get like such a generic response, and you're just gonna be like, that was not helpful. Um, if you want, like also if it's helpful, John, I can send you a kind of like a prompt flow that you can share with the listeners.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but the first thing is like usually you just want to say to actually create an outline for you. So the prompt is going to start something along the lines of like you always want to give it a role into like what hat it's going to play, right? So I usually say like act as a New York Times best-selling publishing house. We're going to write a book about X, Y, and Z. Create an outline in bullet points with like 12 chapters. And then I just let it like imagine and explore and give me some ideas. And then from there it's just distilling, because now you have this outline. It's very bullet points. Maybe the headlines or the chapter titles are not like appealing, so then you can start fine tuning and saying like change this chapter, add a chapter about this, add use cases, add examples. With ChatGPT 3.5 right now, you can pull information from like well-known uh celebrities, personas, and stuff like that. So as long as it's like published before 2021. So I actually did this. I actually tested this to see, and I wrote a book on like the creators economy. Um I haven't published it anywhere. I just wanted to run through the whole process. And I did ask it to write a chapter on like examples explaining like what it talked about in the previous chapter, and it pulled like artists, like it was giving me examples on like Olivia Rodrigo and like these TikTokers that grew their following and then monetized. So it's just about being like super specific with what you actually want.
Okay. And you make a really good point. Well, two really good points there. The first is that what many people don't understand is that ChatGPT remembers your conversation. So you don't have to start each new prompt. It's not like Google where you have to start your new prompt all over again. So if you ask ChatGPT to create an outline for you, it has an outline. And if, like you were saying, if you want, hey, come up with a new title for chapter 3, like that's all you have to ask it, and it comes up with a new title. You don't have to say what chapter 3 title is, and so that's a really good point. The second point that you make is the 2021 cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that I had actually just learned recently, which is all the information, and correct me if I'm wrong, but all the information inside that the ChatGPT uses, the cutoff date is the start of 2022. So to kind of put that into reference for people, if you were searching Google and any result that came back was only from 2021 and before, that's kind of the same concept here. So that is true.
Yeah. So with ChatGPT 4, it's different.
Okay.
But with the version that everybody has access to right now yeah, it's like December 2021, January 20. It's like that cutoff around that
Okay.
date. Yeah.
Okay. It's not a hard cutoff line, but it is right around that time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's very interesting, but it's still when it comes to writing a book, especially, I mean, for maybe I'm a little biased because I haven't written fiction in a long time, but for nonfiction, this can be huge because so much of your research can be conducted just asking ChatGPT to create an outline for you. I've done it, and it sparks ideas that I didn't even think of, and then that leads me to ask it for more research. So for an outlining tool, ChatGPT is absolutely incredible, and I have been using it for clients, and recommend it. So now we'll move into the actual draft, the asking it to draft, to write your first draft based on the outline. So what are some good, I guess, practices for that?
Yeah, so in the same thread, when you open up like start the prompt with like, act as a publishing house, what you want to do is keep this whole conversation in that thread, because it can pull back, like you were saying, it can definitely pull back from like the previous prompts. So what you want to do is now you just want to start prompting it even more. This is called prompt chaining, when you just keep going and going and going. The next step is like, all right, now we're gonna write chapter 1. When I was looking into doing this, I read that chapters usually have like 2 to 5,000 words. So then I got like super specific, and I was like, we're gonna write chapter 1. You're gonna use this tone of voice. Maybe I'll even include the target audience of who I'm trying to capture, right? So like this book, for example, is gonna be for creators, so make sure that the tone is casual. Um, and then I say something like try to appeal like millennial or like Gen Z lingo. And it's really funny because like you just see all of a sudden it's like, yo, what up, fam? It's really funny. But yeah, you can choose if you want it like serious, or if you want to be like a little bit more entertaining and humorous and stuff like that. Then you want to give it like the specifics of the length. So that's where you would say like, right, like 2,000 words on this or 3,000 words on this. Um, and then if you're writing something that's a little bit more on the factual side, always say be accurate and do not hallucinate, because AI hallucinations is basically, it's a funny term, but
Uh-huh.
that's what they call it when the AI just starts like making up whatever information, because it's just
Okay.
like thinking for itself at this point. It's gone rogue.
I heard that. I actually one of our clients said that he asked like for three, I forget what it was, but he asked ChatGPT for references, which is something that we can talk about and get into. But he said one of the references was because he didn't believe what ChatGPT said. One of the references that it suggested led to nowhere. It was a broken site. So he asked again, like, can you send me another one? And ChatGPT kept saying, sorry, I forget what his exact prompt was, but that's something like if you ask ChatGPT, it's funny that it has a name, hallucinations.
Yeah.
So that's something that for people that are relying on it heavily for research, you'll want to double check. And remember, for anyone listening now that's like, oh, well, that defeats the purpose if I have to go check the research. Remember that this is very new. Like
Yeah.
this is incredibly new. So as new iterations come out, this will be fixed. But for now, it's just very important to avoid those AI hallucinations, which is a very
Yeah.
good term. So a question that I have about word count. So one thing that I've done inside ChatGPT is I say like, hey, like write me a 3,000 word chapter on whatever the topic is, and it comes back and it's only like 700 words. So is there something specific to like a word count that you have to say as a prompt? And like this is like a left field question that I just thought of when you were talking, but
Yeah.
so sorry to put you on the spot.
No, no, it's all
But
good.
yeah.
Yeah, when it gives you something that you didn't ask for, I usually just ask it again, but I say like I just ask for confirmation. So I say like you're gonna write, 3,000 words on this, comma, do you understand? Question mark. And then it says like yes. And now that you got like that confirmation of like yes, I understand, now sometimes it'll even like continue writing. Now that it understands, it'll just keep writing. Sometimes it's just like the amount of data that it's creating, it just gets cut off, or it just, stops to think or whatever it is. And if that happens, you can just put continue and it'll just keep going and going and going. So and then now that you have also like all this information, you could also just like say like, hey, I'm gonna send you uh three, let's say you break up all this data right into like three chunks. You say, hey, I'm gonna send you like three examples. I want you to analyze it, optimize it, give me feedback, make it linear, and then just say like, I'm gonna send this to you in like a couple of different prompts. Do you understand? And then it's like, yeah. And then it knows that the next couple of prompts is gonna be that same project.
That's excellent advice, because that was something where a hiccup where I came into it. But just everything you're saying in this conversation, again, it just blows me away that like this is, you literally have a research assistant that pushes back the research within, fraction of a second. So it is incredible. There's a little bit, again, it's so new. You're learning so much, and I'm learning from you and your LinkedIn posts. But what do you think, or like from your insider perspective, what's next for this AI revolution when it comes to writing, chatbots, chat GPT?
I think a couple of things. In regards to like the actual writing in itself, it's like you were saying, right? It's so new.
Yeah.
And immediately this is where a lot of people get like also like, oh well, I could have written that better, or like it makes mistakes and stuff like that. It's just remembering that it's 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 supposed to make mistakes right now. Even humans make mistakes, right? It's something that's only gonna continue to improve on. In terms of like the actual writing, try as much as possible to like never copy it word for word, because you can just tell from like a mile away
Yeah.
when it's like AI generated, especially on like LinkedIn posts, and it's just
Yeah.
like really clunky and so always trying to like humanize it, personalize it as much as you can. If you look at it more of an inspirational tool rather than a this 100% did the work for me, then you're going to have more success because you're going to be able to add your own insights and human experiences. And this is what I think is going to be like the future of AI for writers specifically. It's going to be the human voice, the human perspective is going to be so much more higher valued because everyone's going to be flooding the internet with AI generated content. So it's that perspective, it's that your voice that you get to develop that's going to be more value.
Yeah, that's a very good point because there is the human component that's not there now. And you're right. I see it on Reddit all the time when people have AI generated responses. It's very structured in the format that like we learned in English class, where it's like opening paragraph, three body paragraphs, conclusion. So you can spot it a mile away, and you can see in the sub comments that people write, ChatGPT wrote that. So it is it's very obvious when ChatGPT writes. So yes, the human component, and that's where we get into this is the first draft. So you take it, you humanize it, use other AI tools that I've introduced before. Quillbot is a good like kind of rewriting, and then Hemingway app to edit it, Grammarly to copyright it, or I mean to copy edit. There are so many tools, and you can't take the complete human aspect out of it, especially if your name's going to be on the cover of the book. So you don't want a robot writing it. You want it in your voice. You want to add your thoughts into it, but it can just significantly cut down the writing process and the writing time. Publishing process
Sure.
has already been shortened. So now we shorten the writing process, writing and publishing shortened together now. The sky is the limit when it comes to publishing books. So when it comes to Fame Hackers, your marketing agency, how do you help? So you help business people, creators. How do you help people? Like if a listener was to come to you and say, like, look, I'm writing a book, I want to publish it using AI. How can you help me with AI to promote my brand?
Absolutely. So what we're doing right now is we're doing two things. The first thing that we're getting a lot of interest for is like actual like workshops coming into the operations of someone's business. Right now we've had a couple of law firms that hire us to do that. So it's just going into seeing what processes can be delegated with AI, what kind of prompts can be generated and stuff like that. And then the second step is we'll handle the entire marketing process. And because we use AI, we can provide results and service delivery a lot faster. So this is like super helpful, because it's one of those things that when you're doing marketing, especially the platforms that we focus on right now are LinkedIn and YouTube. So when we understand like how to use AI, you can get like 30 days worth of content ideas in like minutes, and it's just a matter of then actually using the marketing strategy side of your brain and making sure that it's actually going to perform. We tested this with one client in the past, and well, we've done this with multiple people, but this one in particular, we just took the headline of a video for TikTok that it gave us an idea for. We took that headline and we made a video around it, and he got like 14,000 views, and it was just like, all right, that's pretty crazy. And ever since then we just started like rolling with it. um so that's kind of how we're helping right now.
Excellent. Well, yeah, again, just cutting down the time that it takes to create is incredible. So congrats on that, and to your client
Thank you.
for getting those views. So if people want to work with you, they can find you at Fame Hackers, which I'm going to put the link inside the show description here. How else can people connect with you or follow you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is like I think probably the most active platform that I'm on right now. I have that AI and AI tools and ChatGPT prompt database. It's completely free. and I'll make sure to send you kind of like an outline of prompts that you can ask to write a book, so that can be helpful for anyone that's listening.
That's all excellent. And for anyone listening, don't overlook the LinkedIn follow, because that is, aside from working with Isabella one on one, that is such an incredible resource. I learned so much every time I log on and I see that she's posted. My eyes light up, and I'm like, yes, what am I going to learn new today? So
Yeah.
before you do anything else, go follow Isabella on LinkedIn, and I will put the link to her LinkedIn inside the show description. Isabella, thank you so much. We could probably have you on once a month to talk about all the new, once a week to talk about all, that happens in AI and Chat GPT and how fast it's moving. But we really appreciate you being here, helping. Again, for authors, that first draft writing is the most belaboring process, and from what we know and what you have helped us to know today, we can really eliminate that major barrier. So thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.